The U.S. visa bond policy scheduled to take effect in 2026 represents one of the most significant changes to American non-immigrant visa enforcement in decades. Far more than a technical adjustment, this policy will fundamentally reshape who can afford to travel to the United States, how travelers plan international trips, and how regions, particularly Africa, engage with the U.S. for tourism, education, and business. Its timing is especially critical as it coincides with the United States hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup, a major global travel event. At its core, the U.S. visa bond is a financial guarantee required from certain visa applicants before a visa is issued. Bond amounts will range from $5,000 to $15,000 and are intended to ensure travelers depart the U.S. before their authorized stay expires. If a traveler complies with visa conditions, the bond is refunded after departure. However, if the traveler overstays or violates visa terms, the bond is forfeited to the U.S. government. While visa bonds have existed in U.S. immigration law for years, what makes this policy unprecedented is its systematic country-based expansion beginning in 2026. The policy is primarily aimed at addressing visa overstays, which U.S. enforcement data shows account for a large share of undocumented migration. Many individuals enter the U.S. legally on tourist, business, or student visas and later overstay. The visa bond is designed to create a strong financial incentive for compliance, shift enforcement costs from the government to applicants, reduce overstays without imposing outright travel bans, and maintain visa availability while increasing accountability. From the U.S. government's perspective, the visa bond serves as a middle ground between unrestricted access and strict prohibitions. However, for travelers from lower-income countries, the policy introduces a significant financial barrier that may limit mobility and reshape global travel patterns well beyond 2026. Scope and implementation: how the policy will work in practice. Beginning in 2026, consular officers will have expanded authority to require visa bonds from nationals of countries identified as having high overstay rates. The policy primarily affects B1, B2 visas, tourist, and business travel, but may extend to other non-immigrant categories on a case-by-case basis. Key implementation details include bond amount $5,000 to $15,000, set at the visa interview, payment platform U.S. government's pay. Gov system. Timing: bond must be posted before visa issuance. Refund returned only after verified. Timely departure. Forfeiture automatic if visa terms are violated. In addition, some travelers may be required to enter the U.S. through designated ports of entry such as JFK or Washington Dulles, except increased post-arrival monitoring provides stronger proof of ties to their home country. Countries affected a disproportionate impact on Africa and the Caribbean. By 2026, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Senegal, Angola, Namibia, Tanzania, 17 other African countries, and the Caribbean will be subject to visa bond requirements, alongside several additional nations. These countries share higher historical overstay rates, limited access to high-income travel credentials, economies where $5,000 to $15,000 represents years of savings. For travelers from many African countries, it is prohibitive. Country-level impact: most African countries. With most African countries, $10,000 exceeds annual income. Currency instability amplifies the cost, and access to international payment platforms is limited. The result will likely be fewer student parents visiting U.S. universities, fewer entrepreneurs attending trade shows, and fewer tourists contributing to the U.S. economy. Also, where economic volatility and informal employment dominate, the visa bond is effectively a travel barrier. Even highly qualified applicants may simply be unable to raise the funds, regardless of intent to comply. Impact on U.S. tourism and the global travel industry. From a travel industry perspective, the visa bond policy is a double-edged sword. Potential benefits: reduced enforcement costs, lower overstay statistics, greater political confidence in legal travel channels. Serious downsides: decline in long-haul tourism from Africa, reduced business travel and conference attendance. Tourism thrives on accessibility and predictability. Visa bonds introduce uncertainty, cost volatility, and psychological deterrence, all of which suppress demand. The 2026 FIFA World Cup, a collision course. The timing of this policy could not be more sensitive. In 2026, the United States will co-host the FIFA World Cup, welcoming millions of visitors from around the globe, including tens of thousands from Africa. For fans from visa bond countries, the cost of attending could double or triple. Group travel becomes complex, refund risks discourage bookings. From a global event management perspective, this could reduce African fan turnout, affect ticket sales, create reputational challenges for the U.S. as a host nation. A policy that redefines mobility. The 2026 U.S. visa bond policy is not just about immigration enforcement. It is about who gets to participate in global mobility. While the objective of reducing overstays is legitimate, the economic reality of the policy means it will fall hardest on travelers from lower-income countries, particularly in Africa. It risks narrowing cultural exchange, limiting educational access, and reshaping the demographics of who can afford to see, study, or do business in the United States. As this policy rolls out, travelers, travel advisors, universities, event organizers, and governments will all need to adapt quickly. One thing is certain: international travel to the U.S. after 2026 will no longer be defined solely by eligibility, but by affordability. No matter what side you are on the issue, the economic impact affects everyone directly or indirectly.